Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. So, Sagittarius, we have the Devil card. All right, don't worry, I know. In media, in movies, in pop culture, the Devil card is always associated with something bad, right? Well, not here, okay? Not here. This card, I love seeing it come up because for me, the Devil energy is all about that rebellious spirit. It is the breaker of chains. It is that thing that happens like when you've had generations of trauma, of, abuses, outmoded thinking, ways of living that just kind of don't make sense anymore, whatever it is, right? All that stuff that we're taught and conditioned to believe and so on and so forth. And it's often so limiting, right? So the Devil energy comes in, and you could think of this as like kind of like your local, like rock and roller or whatever, It was like goth kids when I was young, and punk. Punk was, making a revival back then, and saying no more, right? I'm not going to do what everybody has always done. I'm not going to follow this way of thinking just because my parents did or, my community does or whatever it is. And it is that Devil energy that says, no, we're doing something else. We are changing the way that we experience the world. We are changing the way that we exist within this world. And what that changes, I don't know. That's different for everybody, right? But so when I see that, it makes me happy because I know it's not exactly the Hanged Man or the Death card, which is when the decision is being made, right? I've made my decision and now I have to go through with it. All right. The Devil card is that first thing that gets the wheels going, right? That is that feeling that's like, all right, I know something's not right here and I don't want to live like this anymore, And so here we go. We're going to knock on this 3 times. We do it 3 times because I don't know why. 3 is a very sacred number, but also it is. You knock to be polite. That's what I like to think. So anyways, I want to thank you so much for deciding to check out this reading, to click on the video. It is always such an honor for me to be able to bring these messages to you. And so let's get going. Right off the bat here, I'm seeing some really beautiful images. And here, this all makes sense to me now. We have a person right here. Okay, you can see the head. You can see kind of the neck here, the body. Maybe in a kneeling position. That's what it looks like to me. In this kind of position of maybe worship, of awe, kind of taking in the whole situation that is going on. And over here, it looks like we have the tower and it is crumbling. Okay, now this could be your tower moment. It could be that you are witnessing somebody else's tower moment, which I kind of feel like that might be more of the case. I wonder if somebody close to you has had some kind of, tragedy, accident. They've come to some kind of realization in their life. I almost kind of wonder, and I'm looking up here. We have a tree. You can see here's the trunk and here's the leaves. But up in the tree, we also have 1, 2, 3 people. Okay, we also have a question mark. Now, we have the tower right here, but it also looks like a scary face. You can see the eyes, the nose, the scary mouth right here. It also, if we don't look at it as either of those things, it looks like a person. Here's the head, here's the body, the torso right here, and here are the arms and the legs, and kind of headed out this way. So what does this mean? To me, it feels almost like we have a family member, because we have the tree. This is somebody who is very much related to the fundamental parts of your life, right? Like, this isn't just like some friend or acquaintance that you have from work or whatever. No, this is somebody who is attached to you. Now, it doesn't have to be by blood, but I would imagine that you call this person a family member, okay? It feels like there's been some maybe infidelity. I almost kind of wonder if this is somebody who is either going through something like a midlife crisis, mental health stuff, or maybe like addiction. Because what it seems like to me is there has been some kind of behavior that has escalated and it has caused problems, right? A lot of arguing. I can just feel there's like a lot of just like resentment, surprise, but it's also kind of like being very let down, right? I don't know why, but I almost get this feeling. It's kind of like, like if you had a parent, for instance, that was like an alcoholic, right? And it was awful growing up in a house with an alcoholic. And I know this myself because I also grew up in a house with, with addiction. And, so you have a parent who had, and they have these behaviors, there's instability, there might even be some mistreatment and so on. And you have a sibling, okay? And you grow up, you're an adult now, and something happens, right? And they start drinking themselves, and they themselves start to embody kind of that same alcoholic quality. Right? And I'm using this as an example. I'm not saying this is exactly what's going on with you, but it is such a letdown. It is such a letdown to see somebody who you love and you know them and they share the same experience with you. And yet you watch them go down this path, right? And what can you do? You can't stop somebody from making these choices. You can't force them to not do it. No matter how hard you try, you can't. So I feel like you're in a place that's similar to this, right? And it feels like this person is unreachable. Which, I've been on both sides of this. I've been the person in addiction. My parents were addicts, and then I became one, right? Great going there. Thankfully, I was able to kind of pull myself out of it after many years. Let me just be clear. From like the age of like 12 to 30, I was in full addiction, pretty much most of that time. And you just hope that like people that you love, that, you hope that they won't go down that path. And so when it does happen, it's just so heartbreaking. You don't want this thing to continue. And this is where I really think that devil energy comes in, because I feel like for you, it only solidifies your resolve to do better. Because as we saw that scary face in there, right? And I'm not saying this is addiction. It could be, like I said, infidelity. It could be financial, like just, the unwillingness to take care of themselves or their family, or, they're just spending lots of money, the gambling, whatever it is. I mean, there's so many things that, somebody can do to upset a family, right? To the behaviors that they get into. So I think for you, You see this and it's like so clear to you. Why would you do this? You know, we've always promised each other that this wouldn't happen. And, you know, I feel like at times you feel kind of lost. Like, what do I do here? You know, you can't save anybody. We might want to, but we can't save people, especially if they're deciding against themselves, right? Because nobody wants to be the person that is making bad choices. And that might be hard to believe because they keep doing it, right? But nobody can stop and say, you got to stop right now or else, right? That doesn't help many people. They just find other ways to do it. So I feel like what this is about for you is about keeping yourself healthy. That's number one, right? Addressing the emotional fallout that comes from a situation or continued situations like this. And, you know, putting the energies that you have, the want you have to help, to fix, to save this person that you love, putting that energy into something that is going to save you, right? The self-work, whatever that is. If that's spiritual work, religious work, if it's your mental health, if it's going back to school to continue your education, if you are addressing health issues, you're, you know, exercising or maintaining your physical health, or, you know, whatever it is. Maybe it's all the things. But you take that energy that you want to put into somebody else's situation, you put it into yourself. And I know it sounds selfish, and I know, you know, but this is the thing. The best help we can do for other people, almost always, is leading by example. Creating a life for ourselves that is inspirational to others, but also allots us the room to care about somebody without getting resentful, trying to fix them. And I know it's much more, it's so complicated, right? It's like, it's not all cut and dry like that. I understand that, believe me. But I feel like the big pull here, Sagittarius, and this often is the case with you all, and I say this out of love, I feel like your biggest flaw is that you give so much of yourself to other people. You care so much. You are willing to bend over backwards for people, usually. And sometimes it's somebody who doesn't have any ability to stop taking, right? Like, it's like they have a void in them that you, no matter how much you try to help fill that up, it's like there's a hole in the bottom and it's just, you know, going right through. And so sometimes we have to stop and realize we're not helping, we're maybe even enabling, but we have to take care of ourselves. Because I don't know about you, but I say this as an addict, as somebody in recovery, somebody who deals with mental health issues, you know, and I'm just a person in general, right? I don't know about you, but I get so much more help seeing people around me try. They don't have to be winning at, you know, at the top of their game or anything like that, but just seeing people try. It makes me want to try. It's not very dissimilar to, if you've ever seen or heard of what happens when you live in like the burbs, right, in the neighborhood somewhere, and one person comes out to mow their lawn. Then all of a sudden, the guy 2 houses down, he's out there mowing his lawn. The next thing you know, half the neighborhood's out mowing their lawn, right? It's like this domino effect. And so I feel like so often, and this is applicable to a lot of problems in the world, I think. So often we feel this pull to take care of other people, to fix other people, to fix situations, to, heal the world. And we don't take the time to work on ourselves. And that's where the real healing can happen. That's where we can really begin to change the world, is by our own self-work. And that's where I feel like you're at right now, Sagittarius. You are in a place where you are working towards not only your betterment, but the betterment of the collective. Okay. Now, let's go ahead. We're going to turn this thing and look and see here. So we have, it looks like, so it looks like it says born, B-O-R-N. And we have, it looks like a person running away from, I almost feel like it's like it feels playful. Like a child or a good friend. Now, I see that we have a mountain here. We have two people up here together. And then we have over here, like one chasing the other. So I'm almost getting this feeling of, almost getting this like playful feeling of kind of, like you've worked this thing together, right? You've done this project, you've been on this journey together, you're very close. But it almost seems like, I don't know if it's like a competitiveness or like you can be you can do all this work together, get really like, just excited that it's all been finished. We put in the garden together. We, built a thing onto the house. We, fixed the whatever on the car, whatever. There's a good team there. But then you get into this place of like, you're happy, you're excited, you're playful, going back and forth. There's like some banter maybe. But then I feel like there's just this moment when this person that you're close with will like kind of almost turn a little bit. Like they get offended or they get jealous or, whatever it is. And I feel like for you, it's almost kind of like whiplash at times. And I think that this friendship, it can feel very tiring, but I feel like you almost feel like you have to keep this friendship going because you've known each other for so long. But I feel like it's almost like every year, it's like you talk a little less, right? You go, instead of hours without talking, it becomes days. And then, then it's next thing you know, you haven't talked in like 3 weeks. You check in and, and it just kind of keeps getting further and further away. And I don't think that this is necessarily a bad thing. I don't feel like this is like a terrible person by any means, but I almost kind of feel like holding on to this relationship has been a lot of work for you. I feel like you've had to make a lot of compromises. You've had to ignore aspects of this person and their personality, maybe their lifestyle. And I think you've just gotten to a point where you're realizing like this doesn't, it doesn't make sense. This friendship doesn't make sense anymore. Now, I don't I do not perceive like a formal breakup or anything, but I do think that it will start to kind of fizzle out, even after all these years. Now, we have the number 117, so 117. We also have the number 86. 86. All right. Now, and isn't 86 it's when you get thrown out of somewhere forever, right? We used to have to do that when I waited tables. I hated doing that, having to kick people out. One time, it was actually right when I first started waiting tables. I was maybe like, I don't even know, 18, maybe 17. I worked at a diner. It was like, it's a famous East Coast chain. I won't use the name, but I was working like my first night, and a wedding party came in. Like they were coming from their reception, and they came in and they had this long table. We had to put the tables together. I was freaked out. I had never worked that late at night, first of all. And second of all, I'd never served that many people. It was 20 people or whatever. And I just remember I was so scared. They were so rowdy. They ended up flipping, not because of anything I did. They flipped a table. They bent the forks and spoons. It was, I don't even know. I don't even know, but we had to kick them out. And it was, I was like, I don't know if this is for me, but I ended up waiting tables for many years. But yeah, I always hated having to kick people out. All right, let's see. So we have, it looks like a little cat right here. I see you going on maybe like a little solo trip. We have the letter F. So maybe to a place with an F in the name. We have the 7 again. Another 7. 7 again right up here. So 7 is seems like an important number coming up here in this next cycle. So I feel like you'll be going on some kind of little trip. I don't think it's a long, like a long journey or anything, but I think maybe like spending the weekend with yourself, or, going on like a little road trip, or, I don't know, just renting a freaking hotel and going and laying in bed and watching TV all weekend. That sounds pretty good. But I feel like you need time to think without anybody else's presence, anybody else kind of affecting your mood or your thought process, or, I think it's just one of those times where you just need quiet. You need to be able to really examine, whatever it is that's coming up for you, and making some decisions. I think that's the big thing, is making some decisions how you're going to deal with some of these situations, and take care of yourself. That's the big thing. It's making sure that you're good. Okay. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to do our 3 lucky numbers. Okay, we have number 32, number 32, number 21, 32, 21, and 27. 27. All right, and here we go. I'm going to flip through here. We have our self-care affirmation cards, and I'm just going to stop where it feels right. And it says, internal flame. Inside me is a steady flame. Every day I breathe life into my sacred fire. I am energized as I tend to my emotions of passion. Passion. Yes. My big passion right now is I'm putting in a garden, a big garden. It ends up being about 20 by 20. So I'm 20 feet by 20 feet. For anybody outside of the United States, I don't know what that equates to. I know I'm one of those lowly people that only know, our system. So 20 feet by 20 feet of garden. Getting put in this next week. I'm super stoked. This garden is going to go where I can see it out the kitchen window. So much sun. I cannot wait. My daughter's going to grow cucumbers and I'm just going to go absolutely wild. I have such a, I cannot tell you how many hamsters are running around in my brain. If you could imagine a room full of like 800 hamsters on their little wheels, that's my brain thinking about this garden and being out in it. So I'm very excited. I hope you have exciting things coming up too. If you want to share, put it in the comments. I love hearing about what everybody's doing, what's going on with you. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. Other than that, go check out my husband's channel. You probably know him. Most of you have seen him, or you're coming over from his channel to check out my channel because he mentioned me. His name is Paul. He reads over at Dove and Serpent Tarot. Again, that is dove like the bird and serpent like the snake, right? Tarot. And he's wonderful. Go check him out. Tell him I sent you. Other than that, I want to say again, I love you. I love you. I love you. We'll talk in a few days. Good night. Good night.